Okay, so now I want to talk about Russia's plan against the United States, right? And this is, I mean, really, this entire book is a plan against the American world order, right? But this is more like specifically on American land, not just the institutions that they control, such as NATO. And so here's a very important chapter regarding it. So let's go into it. Okay, so let's just get right to the important parts. Historical formation of the final geographical picture of the West, primacy from the island of England past to the continent of America, right? So he's saying the Atlanticist tradition of empiricism and liberalism and all that stuff went from England, and then America became kind of the hallmark of that tradition, especially the United States. Thus, the United States and the NATO bloc controlled by them become the maximum embodiment of thalassocracy, I don't know what that means, in its strategic, ideological, economic, and cultural aspects, right? So they're basically saying that's the beacon of that movement. The ultimate geopolitical fixation of planetary forces places the role of Atlanticism and thalassocracy across the Atlantic on the American continent. Europe itself, Western, including England itself, from the center of thalassocracy becomes a buffer zone, coastal belt. You know what? This is not that important. Let's get to this part. Give me one sec. So this is the most important part. So let's get down to it. The geopolitical problem of the planetary West. The West is America. Okay, so I just want to look at what their plans are. So here it is. It is necessary to oppose the Atlanticist geopolitics of the United States at all levels in all regions of the earth, trying to weaken, demoralize, deceive, and ultimately defeat the enemy as much as possible. At the same time, it is especially important to introduce geopolitical disorder into the internal American reality. This is very important, and we're seeing it today. Let's keep going. Encouraging all sorts of separatism, various ethnic, social, and racial conflicts. Actively, same time, to support isolationist tendencies in American politics. So isolationism, people don't know. So Donald Trump is an isolationist in the sense that he tries hard to, not use NATO, not get involved in affairs outside of the American borders, right? And so they like that. So they had like a 4-year rest, Russia, where they could just relax and not worry about America because they knew Trump wasn't gonna declare any wars or get involved in any wars. And so that's why, there's a big conspiracy about how Russia helped Trump get presidency. See, the problem is that the Democrats did a poor job of communicating this to the American people. They communicated as if they hacked some computers or no. I mean, we know for sure that they used, created troll farms and tried to get people on the internet to support Trump through, conspiracy theory, whatever it may be, through forms of information and disinformation, right? That's a better way to communicate it. That is convincing, right? And there's evidence of that. The way that Hillary Clinton communicated was terrible. She was acting like it was, I don't know, like they hacked computers or some. I didn't even know what the hell she was talking about. But anyways, another thing, look, racist, right? So what do they mean by that? And it's over here as well, right? Let's look at it. African, I think. Okay. So here it is, right? And America, United States, right? Forces of African American races, right? Basically what he means is like stuff like Black Lives Matter. And we know here, right? We know that Russia actually targeted African Americans. They knew that they could exploit Black Lives Matter. And they were like, oh, this is divisive. Let's support it to get more division in America. And you can read about it. Actually they Russian troll farms in Ghana and Nigeria, and they kind of got the black people there to start posting content that emphasizes racial divisions, so I guess they kind of got to support that. Like I said, Russia doesn't care who good and evil, whatever. They're like, oh, this is divisive, let's use it. They don't care if they support black. No, it's not about whether they like black people or don't. It's let's use this to exploit it. You know what I mean? That's basically how they view this. So, and you can see it here. this state of affairs is highly beneficial for Russia, even if isolationism is carried out within the framework of the original version of the Monroe Doctrine. If the U.S. limits its influence to two Americas, right? So originally, one of the earliest forms of imperialism from the United States, I guess you could call it that, is the Monroe Doctrine, which was expanding its influence towards places like South America, right? The expansion of American influence into Europe did not occur until, I believe, the Woodrow Wilson era, right? And that was the earliest proto form of the United Nations. It was called the League of Nations, right? Anyways, point is, look, this does not mean at all that Eurasia should at the same time abandon the destabilization of Latin American world. Interesting. Seeking to bring certain regions out of U.S. control. All levels of geopolitical pressure on the United States should be involved simultaneously, just as the anti-Eurasian policy of Atlanticism simultaneously sponsors the process of the collapse of the strategic bloc. And I just want to throw this in also. All dissident movements, right? So, anything, LGBT, anything, Muslims, whatever it is that it can be divisive, they will try to exploit it, right? So they don't care if they agree with it or not. They just care, oh, can we exploit it? All right, let's do it. All levels of geopolitical pressure on the United States should be involved simultaneously, just as I read that part. Yeah. I guess the rest is not related to the United States as much. But yeah, that's basically their strategy for the United States, and it's crazy. This was written in 1997, and you're seeing this right in the last 4 years. Nobody can deny it, right? Which is insane, really. I don't know if I have to say much more. Let's see if I could find something here. Let's see. I don't know. Basically, here. The construction of the planetary new empire will be the main scapegoat of the United States, and the undermining of its power will be. Well, one thing, talking about scapegoats, I notice a lot of what I think are Russian and maybe even Chinese comment YouTube accounts, or not accounts from there, but supporting that movement. You can see that they're always very anti-American. They're like, oh, America, look, they can't do this, they're trying to rule the world, but they don't care about you, or blah blah blah. They'll talk about stuff like Libya, Iraq, things like that. Even today with Palestine, they will try to exploit. Oh, look how America. I mean, there's actually an article where China. Let's see, China, Palestine. Let's see. I don't know, but there's an article where it says China accuses the United States of being indifferent towards the Palestinian issue. So they're trying to exploit that weakness in America, and there it is. So they're like, oh, here's our chance to look good and make America look bad. That's kind of how their strategy works. So yeah, that's about it.